Welcome back, travelers. When you're here, your family. Is that Phyrexia or Olive Garden?
I'm pretty sure that's Olive Garden.
Can we go there instead?
Welcome back, travelers, to Legendary Lore, where now we're talking about Tide Hollow. Tide Hollow the Heartless, Tide Hollow the Unmerciful, Tide Hollow who impales the skulls of the Forgotten with spikes of machine perfection, Tide Hollow whose plumes of trash fire soot gag the toxic hopes of the young, the acidic pleas of the old, Tide Hollow with teeth like window shards, sarcophagus, bones hollowed by marrow and force-fed to infants. That's where Tezzeret's from.
It sounds irrelevant.
It's basically the slums of Esper. And it's where
Come to Phyrexia. We have no slums. Maybe the Great Furnace.
Yeah, I was going to say, what would you call the dross pits?
Necessary.
Okay! Anyways, so basically Tezzeret's walking around trying to gather his bearings. It's one of his safe houses, essentially. It's the first one he goes to. And he goes to where his dad used to be. And his dad is long dead, but his stuff is still there because it basically was a garbage heap they were living in anyways.
Is that the episode of The Rookie we just saw?
No, but essentially, yes. While he's there, though, he's trying to kind of get used to his body. Because, again, it's made of Darksteel. It doesn't bend the way he would expect it to. The Ethereum bindings is pretty much like the main thing that makes it to where it works the way it does. But it feels very stiff, and it's very hard for him to actually do it right.
So it's like moving an action figure, kind of.
Yeah, and so while this is happening, he's also super drained because of the planeswalk that just happened. It took a lot out of him, and he's kind of just on the floor. He falls. And when he does, a bunch of these goons just kind of show up, and they're like, "Hey, give us your money." And he's like, "Boy, I was. Do you know? You don't know who I am, but but I have literally nothing for you." And he goes, "Well, I'll be the judge of that. You would judge me. What makes you think you're worthy?" He goes, "I got a knife in my hand. See?" And he goes, "Yes, you do." And so he animates the knife, and it comes out of the boy's grip and shoves into his palm. And he goes, "I can see that." And he's like, "Ah!" And they're like, they realize that they made a terrible mistake. And so all of them, they basically run away.
It's like there's a wrong guy to rob, and we found him.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's this kid named Estel. And Estel's like the runs the bunch. And Tezzeret kind of takes a shine to him, and he's like, "Hey, can you tell me about this house?" He's like, "Oh, well, the guy who lived here, he's been dead for a while. He's kind of a trash person." He's like, "Okay, that was my dad." And so he goes inside with the kid. And he's basically looking for like all the cheap, there's like a lot of cheap stuff everywhere, but he has a few hidden compartments. And he's looking around, and he finds a small wooden box. And it's basically, it's cool because it's made of wood, and it was something his mother made. And he thinks about his mother in that moment, and how she had been begging for basically in the street when a wealthy guildmaster's wagon just hit her and didn't stop. And then she died. And that was basically like, that's his origin story. My mom got hit by a car, and then I was stuck with my abusive dad. So
He just got Batman, but in like 0.2 seconds.
yeah, pretty much. And so he asks Estel, "Do you know what this is?" And he opens up a box, and inside are a bunch of little bits of metal. And he goes, "That's Ethereum." And he's like kind of like freaking out about it.
So he couldn't work with the Darksteel, but can he work with the Ethereum? Can he like bind the Ethereum to himself?
So yes, he could, but at the same time, he uses it to create a message in the Ethereum, and he gives it to the boy. A little rectangle, and inside of it's written in Ethereum all this stuff, right? He puts it in the wooden box, and then he tells the kid, "You got a knife?" The kid's like, "Yes."
Are you gonna stab my palm too?
And so it's really cool because he gives him the knife, and it's just like this rickety old wooden knife with a broken blade, and he's like, "Okay." And it turns into like a really nice knife with like it describes it as having a special edge that if it comes in contact with a sword can actually go through it. So it's like somebody attacks him with it, he can actually like just stab, and if they go at him with a sword, he'll just go through the sword and still stab whatever he's going at.
That's cool.
And so he tells him, like, and it's funny because it's Tezzeret grew up here. That's just kind of his thing. And he looks up because he hears this huge crack, and he looks up and he can see bone white metal jutting through the darkness. Because the Phyrexians are coming. They're already here. The portals have opened. And he's like, "Okay, this is not a good spot, but I gotta do with what I can." And so he tells him, okay, look, you know the cistern at Bellow's End? He's like, okay, yeah, I know about it. We used to watch the parades there. He goes, okay, go there, stick to the narrow passages in the Shadow Way. And he's like, how do you know all this stuff? He's like, don't worry about it. Be quiet and listen. Go to the city. Take any supplies you can come across. Do not stop moving. If something gets in your way, you use this. And he gives him back the knife. He goes, make your way to Bant. And he's like, Bant? Why do you want me to go to Bant? He goes, follow the shoreline northward, keeping the silver one at your back to guide you to Valoron. Approach the first outpost you see and find the knight decorated with the most sigils. Request an audience with Knight General Rafik and give him this box. And then he's like, I'm a street rat. What, like, how am I, like, what is happening? What is this? What are those? Who are you? Why'd you have to open it when I showed up? He's like, the kid's freaking out. And he's like, look, I'm giving you one chance to live. When you see Rafik, tell him that an ally of Elspeth Tyrell sent you. And he tells him to go.
Somebody who knows Tezzeret, so you want me to lie?
Yeah. I mean, technically, he's definitely an ally of Elspeth Tyrell. Because now
enemy of my enemy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's why, for that reason, that Tezzeret will momentarily be in my Planeswalker deck. So, with all of that said, Tezzeret then grabs his dad's cloak and puts it on.
Have you considered a complete Planeswalker deck?
No, Joe, I have not. Because,
might.
right. So yeah, basically, as he's leaving this place, everything starts to collapse around him. The Phyrexians are pouring into the streets and they're starting to slaughter everybody.
Ugh.
And he's like, cool, this is a fitting goodbye. I will never come back here again. And then he walks away. And so as he's going from safe house to safe house, trying to find one that has not already been taken over by the Phyrexians. And so as he's going, it describes him going to different places. It says Aranger, Ilke, Obsidius, all places that contain safe houses set up by Baltris in his second in command at the Infinite Consortium. Awesome reference, because Baltris was, again, from these old Planeswalker novels, and the Infinite Consortium was the thing that he used when he first recruited Jace and Liliana onto his team.
You can actually hear more about that in our Legendary Lore of Jace.
That's true. We actually did cover this, didn't we?
We covered the Infinite Consortium, yeah.
Yeah, we did cover that. Wow. We have a lot of stories. We have a lot of stuff. We have a lot of
check
content.
our backlog if you're ever bored. We can tell you anything you want to know. If you want to know about something specifically, comment it. We'll try to get to it after March of the Machines.
It's true. So, it then says that he then went to Mirinkar, Cabrelin, all these other places that were falling to the Machine Legion. And he just keeps going from place to place, and it's the same thing every single time. That it's just the Phyrexians are here, until he gets to a plane where they're not there yet. Kamigawa. And so, he looks at all these people, and they're all completely oblivious. Because if you think about it, you have Tamio, who's completed, you have the Wanderer, and you have Kaito, both of whom are not currently there. There's no Planeswalkers currently at Kamigawa to try and protect it. And so he's at this whole thing, he's going through his safe house, and he's like, where is it? Where's the thing? And as he's going through all these different locations, he hears somebody say, it is you. And he turns around just a moment before he feels electricity surge through his body. And he's suddenly on the ground, he's just been stunned. And he's trying to figure out what's going on. And then he feels a blade pierce through the cloth and hit the soft ethereum in the middle of his back. And he's like, ow. You hit the one part of my body that you could actually hurt. Why would you do that? Also, who are you? And then he turns around and sees an Azumi. And the new Azumi's like, where is she? Yes. Do you recognize who this is?
Yes.
And so it's Tamio's kid. And he's like, who? Tamio, tell me where she is. Is she dead? And then it says with a click, the cannon chamber loaded with another shot train on Tezzeret's head. Tell me now.
That's right. There are more people that had stakes. Not Chandra, Elspeth level of stakes, but...
Yeah, personal.
There are still a lot of people who've been robbed of families.
And then as this is happening, he realizes this is her kid. And it says, of course, Tamio's family. She says that it was never quiet with her around. Her inane singing, a broken music box stuck in an endless loop. Genku, my love, I will come back for you. Hiroko, my love, I will see you again. Rumio, my love, we shall embrace. Nashi, my love, not of my blood, but of my heart. Yes, Nashi. And then he says, I saw you die once for burning my village to the ground. Tell me where she is or she'll die again. And Tara's like, you know what? This is fair. Kill me. And he's like, I'll do it.
It's like, yes.
He goes, do it. What are you waiting for? Are you like, you're a coward? And it's like, it's cool. It says, a dam broke inside Tezzeret. He reached backward one more time, feeling his fingers elongated and wrap around the blade lodged in his back. He wrenched the blade out and threw it at Nashi's drone, knocking it askew enough that the cannon shot far wide of its target. Shadows danced. Nashi tried to bolt away, but Tezzeret was faster, snatching him by the collar of his leather jacket and dragging him to the ground. You pathetic weakling! In control of his faculties once more, he lifted Nashi with one arm and threw him against the bridge support. Fate handed vengeance to you, and you squandered it. Few ever get that chance. And he picks him up again, he pins him to the wall, and the kid's like, what's happening? In this life, you take what you deserve.
Because any normal person would be like, this is a kid. This person doesn't know about killing. But with Tezzeret's life, is just like, Tezzeret's life has been all kill or be killed.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, yeah, this person has the opportunity to kill me. Obviously, they're going to. There's no moral standings or anything about this. It's just
you have to survive.
But
that's not how Nashi works. In this life, you take what you deserve. Others will try to stop you, so stop them first. You kill them first. And there's a bunch of engines outside. Because a female Nezumi.
I love this card.
Yes. She steps out for her thing. Because
wait, so Nashi joins the Akiba?
Nashi joins Akiba.
Is that the point of his alternate art?
Yes.
We didn't see the actual story because that's like an epilogue. His mom gets taken. He just joins the rat gang. Yes,
he basically joins the Nezumi gang so that he can have the power necessary to fight and find Tezzeret.
Okay.
And so Tezzeret is, it says right here, Tezzeret dropped Nashi in front of his feet. More threats. Always threats that tasked him for a response. Very well. Metal would be his answer. Brutal and precise. For hate's sake. With that thought, he expanded his magic out past himself in all directions. Into the bridges that spanned the iron firmament above his head. Into the ground to contact deposits of ore deep underneath them. Detecting something amiss, the leader ordered 3 of her henchmen to dismount from their bikes and approach. But it was too late. In that moment, Tezzeret basically just magnetos all the metal out, impales the majority of the gang, smashes the bikes together, crushing people in between them. And he's like, what?
Greasefang lives, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Greasefang's fine. But it's like, Tezzeret's overpowered. And the thing is that at this moment, he is so done with everyone and everything.
He's probably going to be the one that's a match for Nahiri.
It's true. And here's this moment. It says, and Nashi wrapped his fingers around Tezzeret's wrist, the half-congealed blood on his palms leaving a residue, black and viscous upon Tezzeret's dark steel skin. Your mother still lives. And now she's like she's alive. And he goes, she'll come for you soon enough. And when she does, you'll wish I had killed her. And he puts Nashi's head onto the ground. Like, because he was holding him and he just puts him down. And he planes walks away. And so, it's just like, what? And just like how messed up it is.
He just rocked the entire Okiba's world and he's just like, I cannot find a safe place. This is going terrible for me. Nobody's having a worse time right now than me. And now she's just having an existential crisis.
And so what happens next is that Tezzeret leaves Kamigawa to go to this random plane that nobody ever goes to, that nobody has ever wanted to go to. And it's the Iron Island, the metal island that he talked about in Test of Metal. It's basically the only spot in the Infinite Consortium that shouldn't have been reached.
And it's where you can get a Ryulu egg from Riley.
So it says, once this was his tower, the base of operation from which he steered the fortunes of other planes as the shadowy leader of the Infinite Consortium.
Because he said Iron Island.
As Tezzeret began his trek forward, he pondered the battle happening across other planes, Bellerin and his cohort against Elishnorn. He has no idea that the Jace has been completed. Which I hope we're going to get to see a fight between Tezzeret and a completed Jace.
Rematch.
And this way Tezzeret can actually beat him. I think that would be really cool to see. They would reach the end soon, the stage when both opponents would release their final salvos against each other. This was always the most important part of the game, one he was glad to sit out. Eventually one of them would be victorious but weak, and then and only then would he make his move. In the meantime, there was much rebuilding to do. So, the way this ends, it makes it seem like Tezzeret isn't going to be part of the whole deal.
But he's going to be part of the aftermath.
That's what I'm expecting. Aftermath, we'll probably see what he does.
I can already imagine the end of that fight too. Just like, your magic is weakened, Mind Mage. Throws him aside.
Like Tezzeret's going to be super overpowered. He's full on Magneto. He's Magneto versus Xavier. It really is. Because Jason's not going to have any kind of restrictions on his mind magic. Now, if Jace dies during the March of the Machines, which I highly doubt, the problems that are going to arise from that, Tezzeret just, again, being like, if you have the chance, take it.
If you had the chance to change your fate, would you?
Exactly. But that's not what's happening here. Tezzeret is going to rebuild the Infinite Consortium. He's going to probably get Baltrus back on his team, which would be really cool.
He's going to be our next big bad.
He's setting up to be the next big
awesome.
bad. And I'm expecting that we're going to see him kind of like becoming less of a main villain and more the person that you kind of go to for help when you don't want it.
He's going to be like a mafia boss.
Yeah. Because that's basically what he was originally. With the Infinite Consortium. So I'm really hoping we're going to see that kind of come back in, where we can see maybe like a Legion of Doom kind of scenario happening, where Tezzeret will have a series of villains under his retinue that will constantly be causing problems for everybody else. Characters like Ramaz can finally show up. Baltrus, again, could show up as like a dark antithesis to Chandra. So there's a lot here. There's a lot to unpack. I'm really hoping it's going to be cool. Calyx would be a great addition to Tezzeret's team, too.
Magic's going strong.
It's going to be great. It's going to be huge. We only got one more story left, and it's about Teferi.
Don't miss it.
A part of me thinks that Joe might be a Phyrexian.